Welcome back to Daeyuk. That's 6 in Korean. Look at me, I'm multicultural.
5 seconds ago.
Welcome back, everyone, to Champions Soul. It's time for our second match of the day. It's G2 Esports taking on Edwards Gaming, who look to become the second BCT China team to make it to the playoffs today. Of course, Golden Boy here alongside Paper Thin and Achilles. And what the hell just happened?
Look, it's insane. I mean, Trace, I had said before, like that, you know, them taking down Vitality, that could end up being one of the biggest upsets of the tournament.
Yeah.
It's been usurped immediately. That was an incredibly dominant performance.
Well, they did it again.
On the Ascent. Yeah. Coming out of that map 1, I said Feng really, absolutely, utterly destroyed Lev. If you spell that out all out, it spells fraud.
Oh, you're calling it back. You're so proud of yourself with that.
Set it up in the first act and we'll close it out in the third.
You bum. Paper Thin, though, man. Seriously, before we move on, I mean, just this Trace team, I love them. I'm a fan. This is it. Buy me a jersey, buy the bundle. What we got to do to support these boys?
What else do you want? They played amazing today.
Yeah.
Top to bottom, they look really, really good. Yeah, Sunset's still a weak point, but that's okay because the rest of their maps, Bind and Ascent, look phenomenal.
Yeah.
They are absolutely a team to be feared.
They didn't just look phenomenal. They crushed them. They flattened them.
Yeah.
Like, unreal stuff. I just, again, Trace Esports, I wasn't familiar with your game, papas. I'm so sorry. Okay? Pero now, I'm on your side. All right? Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to their compatriots on the other side of that. They're going to be taking on G2 Esports. Got EDG going up against G2. We'll start with G2 first, though, because G2 coming out of this one, when we saw G2 versus PaperX, we were all stoked, Paper Thin. We were all excited. But G2 Esports, it was business, and they took care of it with a 2-0.
And it was business time for sure, and they are really in form right now.
They had their business socks on.
They did. The suit, the tie.
The whole kit caboodle.
There you go. All right,
I love you, man.
I do too, man. No, I just, they're such a fundamentally strong team right now. They're so well prepared for all of their matches. They play off of each other very nicely. They come into all of their games with great ideas. Josh is a great coach. I mean, top to bottom, I am so impressed with G2 this year.
Yeah, it really does feel like this G2 team, Seth, can, you know, find those layers, and if they do it here at Champions, it could be dangerous.
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, this is, I think, the squad to be feared because they just have such a solid read. Valen has been an incredible IGL since he started playing the game, basically. Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, this team is incredibly gifted. We saw in the, you know, the bumper coming into today, our nice little pre-roll video, they're saying, yeah, we see your playstyle, EDG.
Yeah.
Our playstyle counters yours.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, we'll see how this plays out, though, but let's check in with the professor and get a lesson for today. It's Jonah P, standing by with the Insu.
I'm now standing by with one of the tournament favorites. It is Jonah P from G2. Now, I think the hype is real. You even have the doubters believing at this point that you guys can do this. So I wanted to ask you, what makes you guys so scary, so good? What is it that is setting you apart right now?
The way I think about it is like no team wants to play us because of our playstyle. Everyone's very aggressive and we capitalize on that. So I think we have the best best discipline compared to all the teams. So I think that that little thing makes us different from everyone else.
Oh, I can't wait to see you on the server today. Good luck.
If there is a word that you can associate with G2 Esports, it 100% is discipline, because they exude it every single time. In fact, Paper Thin, I know you have a round that you wanted to break down for us on this. What you got?
I've got round 17 on Icebox versus PaperX, and so there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. So first of all, I want to highlight what the situation is coming into. This is just coming off the back of Leaf's 4K on the Eco, where he snuck up behind. Now, they're in a really good situation here with their ults. Oops, wrong button. That's okay, though.
Seth cursed
we'll
you,
clear
by the
that.
way.
He
Seth
did curse me. He does this to me all the time.
He said, don't screw it up.
All right, so for real, 3 ults, 1 away for the side of G2. Plus, they're going to opt into an outlaw here because they know that PaperX economy is not good. There's a great reason for that. Leaf also very good with it, but let's start the round. And immediately, I want your eyes to go to the mini-map and look what they ping out. The orb. They're going to prioritize the Reckoning here for Valen. Okay, that's the first ult in this equation. Then, they're going to wrap around. We're going to speed up a little bit here. And you're going to see, they're going to come from the back. Now, you've got the Outlaw, and you've got the util from the Sova to delay here to buy a little bit of extra time. Now, pause. There's going to be a wall that comes up, that's to kind of fake a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're going to anticipate Paper X's reaction. Paper X wants to not have happen what happened in the last round.
Yeah, they don't want that backstab.
They don't want that, so they're going to send some players down themselves. So let's take a look. And they're going to send, first up is going to be Forsaken, and he's going to come around the corner. They're ready for this. Gecko Util, boom, he's done. The Reckoning is already out, and it is going to spot something. He is stuck in the corner. They're going to use Gecko Utility as well. That's a kill for Icy. That is the Thrash Online, one of those 3 ults I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they knew coming into this as well that there was an ult for Mind Freak here, right? You have the, yep. You have the Viper's ult, and they are very ready for this. They have so many answers to this, whether it's Leaf getting a kill, he gets the lockdown. If you get the Harbor ult, that's a counter to the Viper's pit. You have the Thrash, that's a counter to the Viper's pit. You have everything you need here to clean out the rest of the round. From the start to the finish, they have this round read like a book. They have Paper X's number the whole way through.
Yeah.
Insane preparation.
It's wild because, you know, it's not just the prep too, it's also their mid-rounding. They're so aware of everything. It's almost as if Valen just has everything in his head and he's thinking about everything in a 3D plane, Achilles. Like, the guy is he's like a walking GPS, it feels like at times.
I think he does exactly that. I think he just goes into his mind palace and then he's able to just see through walls and everything like that and just download and just recollect things from team's previous series. It's been incredible performances from Valen as the IGL, but I mean, Leaf is also nothing to shake a stick at.
And that is something that, Paper, that you were talking about in that telestrator there, that the round prior was Leaf having massive impact here. And well, I mean, quite frankly, Leaf has massive impact all the time because he's just such, he always finds those openings, those gaps. He did it as a duelist and he does it as a Sentinel even better.
He's so reliable.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely incredible. And when we think back to Shanghai, I think about him playing Breeze, those lurks that he was able to come up with.
Yeah.
It was insane how many multi-kill rounds Leaf was able to come away with. And when G2 were starting to kind of get ground down, slowing down their performances, is because we weren't seeing that same impact for Leaf because teams were starting to get a read on his tendencies. But he's looking very much reinvigorated here.
Yeah, that's right. And let's not forget, this is not the first time that Leaf has come to a Champs event. It was actually here in 2021. His hair was quite long at that time. But thankfully, he found a pair of scissors and he went right to work.
What team was that? What team was he on?
I believe that was...
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Are they?
I don't know who they are.
Well, yeah, are they around?
I actually
anymore?
couldn't see because I'm blind.
It was Cloud9.
It was Cloud9.
Okay. I couldn't tell. You
I
gotta help
remember
me
that
out.
team because of Zeta, but
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zeta, we love you, buddy. But yeah, he has been here before, so he is no stranger to that stage. The guy has popped off time and time again. But let's go ahead now and turn our attention to the other side of the field. Let's talk about Chichu here because he's going to be speaking about bouncing back after Master Shanghai, a massive event that for EDG's team's history in this Omen player moment.
Hello， 大家好，我是 EDG 的基主。我觉得很不容易吧，因为我们变了阵，然后现在能打成这样，我觉得很不错吧。然后也是我们换阵过后的一些效果，我们也看到了。然后我们希望我们后续能做得更好，然后去突破吧。其实怎么说呢，我们现在其实在心态上面应该是没有负担的，因为毕竟我们也经历过5杠26这种东西过，我们的整体来说是每拿多1分，其实对我们来说都是好的一个过程吧。所以说我们现在就是更加放得开了，因为毕竟已经更烂的已经出现了，不可能我们还会打得比之前那个还烂。对，所以我们现在会放得更开。
Molly's all going to be used in conjunction on one another, and with the rifle aim in hand, it's the only thing that could steady the course. EDG got to put a stop to this. Eternity here still. Kang rattling the bars.
也很感谢观众对我们的喜爱吧，跟支持，我们也会去更加完善我们自我的一些技战术吧，然后去打出更好的比赛。因为我们经历了低谷，然后还能喜欢我们，我觉得大家都很不容易吧。我也希望我们整个 EDG 不会辜负你们的希望，然后也能不辜负整个 CN 瓦，去打得更好吧。我希望你们的加油会让我们的手感更加火热。
And after I had mentioned before, right, that Shanghai was a massive, like a hole in EDG's team history. A team that's only ever been on the up and up, but they experienced utter defeat in their homeland. And they're now trying to bounce back here, Paperthin. They're trying to find that mojo again that they had when we were first introduced to this team.
Yeah, and that's why they made changes after Shanghai. They talked about how they needed a reset in a bunch of different ways. You bring in Simon, you change the coach, and all of a sudden, EDG still doing what they do regionally. Sure, they're winning. That's great. But now they come in internationally and they smash foot. And it's on the back of these two controller players who have been really, really special for them. Chi-Chu and Smoggy, absolutely incredible. Obviously, everybody knows Kong Kong.
Yes.
He's always nuts. He's a very, very good player. But it's some of the other players now that are starting to step up behind him and really start to take over these games to assist him in his role.
Yeah, and is that like going to be the thing here? Because the thing was, everyone was talking about EDG and Foot was a bit of a muddy game. Yeah. Does EDG drag G2 into the mud with them?
I think that this is going to be difficult. I think that EDG does have they certainly have the firepower to contend with everybody that's there on the other side of the stage. My biggest concern is going to be how does the IGL look for them going up against Valorant, because you have somebody who's very recently been taking up that role and piloted the team to good success. They've maintained their position at the top of VCT China, but Valorant has so much veterancy. Does this end up being a Mako v Boaster type situation here, or will this time the veteran IGL be able to win out?
I mean, who do you got again, Paperton, on this one?
I have G2. I think they don't fall into the mud.
I mean, I took a punt with EDG, but we were all wrong about the first series too, so.
All right, well, let's go ahead and see how this all shakes out. We got G2 Esports about to take on EDG. Let's head out to the stage and meet our teams.
G2. Edward Gaming.
Can history repeat itself? Can a VCT China team defeat a VCT Americas team? We just saw Trace Esports do the unthinkable against Leviathan. The question on everyone's mind is, can Kong Kong and EDG manage to pull one through and dethrone and take the G2 boys off their pedestal here? But we got our series layout as well.
We do, and I think that this is going to be a little bit of an inverse compared to that Trace series. They said we don't really rely on hero plays, we don't rely on individuals, we rely on our teamwork. I feel like for EDG to come out on top of this one, it might have to come down to some of those hero plays for Kong Kong to have these fantastic moments to break through the lines of G2.
Yeah, you're just going to have to find a way to keep G2 off balance, to get them to start having their protocols fall apart. That's something that's been very, very difficult for most teams to do this year. G2 is a well-oiled machine. It's going to be getting through those structures, finding cracks in the defense that G2 has let very few teams through.
Yeah, and that is going to be a challenge. I think it is quite fascinating, though, right? Like, we have been really pushing about the individuals and what they bring to the table here, but as we just saw with Trace, teamwork does, in fact, make the dream work. So maybe that will be the recipe for success that G2 can continuously lean on, because that has been their whole MO throughout the entirety of the Americas season, Achilleos.
Now, it really has been, and right now, I think they're looking absolutely red hot. Taking down Paper Rex, they were dismantling them. They were having solid ideas and understandings of exactly what Paper Rex...
And that's a team with all the individuals.
Yes, yeah. But they were able to go ahead and pick things apart moment after moment. This is going to be a tough one here for EDG, but if they can hit those highs that we have seen from them in the past, I think they're absolutely capable of dealing with G2. It feels like they're on the up and up, and right now we can see a bit of a pivot compared to the last time that they played on Icebox, as Simon's going to be there on that KO.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, what other initiator do you want to go with? Which initiator do you want to...
Flashinator.
I like Flashinator. Flashinator, hey, that's good. I like it. Yeah. No. But, Gecko or KO seems to be what most teams want to run with. And we already know what G2 does. The Harbor here, Valent's Harbor, really, really impactful. He's not just a fragger. He's so smart with the way he uses utility, the way he's going to set up those cascades and high tides to allow for their retake play. They're so patient. The one thing that makes G2 so difficult to go up against is they know when to fight and they know when not to. That is something that a lot of teams don't do well with.
Well, let's see how this all plays out and get ready for this one. We got your Cashin on standby. It's Sideshow and Brand's tragic hairline.
That's just insanely out of pocket.
An insane thing to write in
also,
the prompter.
imagine saying you have the tragic hairline of the two of us. What's going on there?
Yeah, and I missed the memo. St. Patrick's Day was a few months ago. But we're going to get into the action soon enough. G2 versus EDG. And listen, there's a couple of things you can go into this match talking about. One of them, though, much more important, given the fact that we just witnessed a massive upset in the form of Trace beating Leviathan. And it's that spotlight. EDG is that powerhouse China #1 seed. They're used to that kind of attention being settled on them. They're used to all of that expectation as well, and the fact that they had that poor Shanghai performance and needed a return of it. But to be honest, at this point, they're losing steam, and the rest of China is catching up and maybe even beating them out in terms of overall placements.
We'll have to see during this match.
Yeah.
If they can get a win here, that would certainly put the attention back on EDG as the team to lead this Chinese region forward. But you're right, they're doing it by committee at the moment, which is even more brilliant to watch.
A map like Icebox to kick things off. Here's G2's playground. They are absolutely stellar from beginning to end, usually. In terms of the calling, the desk was mentioning the word mud quite a lot, which I do appreciate. Don't think we're going to see much of it here. Shots rattled by Leaf. He's going to be giving them a lot of space there, playing for his own life. Simon with the plan, left to push it back.
Recalling my bot.
We're going into the post line here. Kangan wants to get aggressive and will be rewarded. That's 2 players plucked out of the picture. Maybe a few more where that came from. He's eager for it, but Leaf, you don't want to test to this guy because he will challenge. Standing tall. This guy has already done the damage. And has fallen to pieces before their very eyes. EDG, it's Smoggy forced to back away here, still with a plan down, time ticking. Leaf, not too many options left for him. Has to stick this one just for the win cons, having a defuse, sticking it all away. Slow body bullet tag, but the final one will do it. Straight to the chest of one singular Leaf. And so a pistol round earned up here for EDG. Great beginning.
And a great performance from 2 players to keep your eyes on throughout this entire match. Kangkang to open up. Gets double-faced or at least traded, or an attempt to trade, I should say, from Valin. Instantly a response from Leaf, being able to pick up 3 on his own. So great individual performances from both of those players. I think Kangkang's going to need to try to take moves like that, where he fights in, knowing that G2 are going to be double-swinging him or trying to trade him. He has to try to outskill G2 today if they want a chance at winning this. The whole of EDG does. Because we talk about it so often, but this G2 team, they are so disciplined.
Yeah.
You know you're not going to be able to catch individuals on their own too often. They're going to be trying to set up these team plays. And I don't think that's the area that EDG should try to fight on, having better teamwork than G2. They want to lean into their strengths, which is the individualism, the brilliance that they can pull out at times.
If they can drag teams into that tempo and play style even better. The trouble is, G2 not really privy to it. They don't particularly like to opt into it.
No, they are an extremely slow-paced team, especially once the side swap and G2 get onto the attack side. But you can see here, for example, no G2 players on the defensive A contesting these angles. They allow EDG a lot of space.
Really going to be trying to lean onto the retakes, I think, throughout most of this map, at least for this half.
Thing is, though, if you play retake all the time, EDG are going to get an idea of that, and then they're just going to start vacuuming up space without using too much utility. They're going to have it all for post-plant. Kankan's going to be on aggressive angles. You know, at some point you do need to mix things up and go for contests, tuck somebody in the pipes, run strats like this.
This is getting a little bit messy, but at the end of the day, it is cleaned up with 4 players surviving, so EDG will be happy with that one. Keep it moving. Going forwards now into the bonus, bit of extra weaponry.
And some good players with some good ult points there as well. Getting closer to Simon and Chishu's ultimates, who are the best ults to have online for your attack side on Icebox. Now we get to see what G2 are doing with an economy advantage. This is one of the rounds where you might expect them to play a little more aggressive. You know, we talk about G2 playing slowly, but that doesn't mean that they're completely passive all the time. They do have aggression. They do like to contest, tuck people into nest, fight over B green, for example.
Deep tap over there. Not too sure if the orb got grabbed.
I don't believe so.
No, it's
still there. Just trying to see whether Nobody and Smoggy are going to sync up that utility combo that we see from a lot of teams on their attack side. Notice as well that Chi-Chu is not using Nanoswarm to deny pipes, but Trent might get overwhelmed.
Yep, might indeed. Underhanded flash as well, straight through and out. Nobody wants to take that point and contact, and his body's dropping on either direction still. 2 left to stand here for G2. EDG with that player advantage. Massively so, in fact, now left down to just Jonah P. This is an EDG fully powered up, fully empowered. A bonus round win. That's 3 in a round now.
That's a fantastic beginning for EDG. They used very little utility there. Like I said, no shock molly combo to deny Alt Orb. They used the knife over towards pipes, but they also didn't use a Nanoswarm to deny space. They're not using util on A already in round 3 because they've got the read that G2 are going to be sat back a little further. This time there was a bit of a brawler scrap on site, but you could just tell from the position that Trent used his drone. He had no clue that EDG were pushed up that far. He thought they were still sitting back waiting to exec. Valen likes to get the read of teams throughout a series. Sometimes G2 will be a bit slow off the blocks or download their opponent as the games go on, sometimes from map to map.
I'd agree with that point. They tend to take a bit of time as well, like you said, to download the opponents and make the necessary reads. It was becoming a bit of a chore, honestly, watching them in America as they drop the first map and then just go on to rinse by the time they got to the 3rd.
But what that means is if you're a team like EDG looking to secure another massive win for China here today, it's about trying to punish them when they're in that warming up phase, when they're gearing up. You want to get as many rounds on the board as early as you possibly can so that comeback becomes impossible.
EDG's just be ensuring to take this one slowly, steadily. Orb in front of them too, plenty of players close to ults. One of the benefits of getting off to the start, bit of snowball onto their own attack side as well. You have some big ults to utilize, which Simon's going to be letting loose and letting rip right now with a no command, at least to get a bit of safety down onto the site. Nobody to get this plant down. It will be defended.
Simple cleanup.
Yeah.
But a pretty big ult expenditure. That's one that Simon would love to have for the next round. I'm just a little worried about time pressure there. But they've kept things very, very clean apart from that no command usage. Coming into round 5 here, where they'll have a pit, no real ults to be able to get into the sites. But to be honest, with the way that G2 are currently playing, EDG are just kind of waltzing on in there.
Not too much of the early fighting, as we've already mentioned. At least when we've seen it drift over towards the A site. We'll see though, G2 also coming up close to a couple of ults of their own, big ones in fact. 2 from the lockdown, Reckoning, Thrash 1 away. Kill could put that onto the board, but G2 have got to start, I think, pressuring at least that they're fighting over A early. Again, the knife just tagging onto the 2 of them. Pair of players, Valen and Icy. Ordered back, pushed away, and Jonah P is going walkabouts here with a wall in his face as 2 players side by side. Again, a game of time, and G2 are they going to be catching it, looking completely in the wrong direction.
No response there to the audio cue of the wall falling. They're already pushed up too far. Leaf falls as well.
My.
It's open season. EDG looking like this one is far too easy for them. Simple stuff. These first 5 rounds that we've watched, I mean, look at this.
Yeah, okay.
Kankan making a bit of a fool there, making Icy dance and taking the pick. Valen's the final one to pick up the pieces, and it's as likely as anything that he'll take a bullet and have his ult for the next round. A 1v5 here, it's just not doable.
No, it's impossible. Got to keep the rifle, but already spotted out, noted, and he's going to be swarmed. We'll be able to carry that one into the next. Another flawless one, 5 alive, this time on a gun round. EDG have a tremendous amount of momentum behind them now.
Remember that EDG have been sat kind of in the back of champions today, watching their compatriots destroy teams that other people are suggesting favorites for the tournament.
Oh yeah.
They don't know if it's going to go 2 maps, 3 maps. They have to be ready. They're sat there backstage waiting to go on, thinking obviously about the game coming up, but also watching the match, realizing wait a second, our region is doing extremely well today. And if that didn't give them enough confidence, how about a 5-0 start against G2?
On Icebox, nevertheless. I mean, it's a map that G2, as you said, mainly on the attack side, the calling of Valen. He'll be running rings around teams, he'll be calling perfection, the ults in terms of how they sync it up. It's all being worked to a masterpiece, but they're not on that side yet. They're on the defense, and they are struggling, hence the timeout that's being called. Adjustments have to be made. They thought that they maybe have come to terms with it, but I mean, G2 just losing track.
I think in that previous round, G2 making a hard read that when the knife and the recon came in over towards A, Valen, he's thinking about going for the ult orb, he backs off and he's thinking, all right, this is similar to what I've seen before. This is EDG contacting in behind this utility onto A. And in fact, completely wrong read. EDG mix it up, drop the wall on B and get a couple of picks.
Yeah.
Just for people who haven't been aware of both of these teams, if you haven't been following them in their regional leagues, I thought from watching EDG, now they don't think this because they don't permaban it, but I thought Icebox was their worst map that they play. So for them to be 5-0 up right now, looking really prepped and running rings around Valen's understanding of what's coming at him, pretty fantastic stuff.
Bodes well, definitely bodes well. And another pause. I see the timer frozen.
Yeah.
That strikes fear into my heart, Josh. That strikes, especially when you don't see the timeout.
We had a lot of very late hit rounds in our first series of the day. It's already the time ticking. We could be down for a very long one today.
Been here a few hours already.
Yeah, buckle in, get some snacks. G2 on the attack side are going to be slow as well.
I was
and here it
waiting
is.
for it.
Confirmation.
God, Pansy lands in Korea and this happens. Okay.
And this will give more time for Valen to be thinking about things. But also, when you've just come out of attack timeout and there's ideas that you want to implement, that's frustrating.
Yeah, definitely is. Gives them a bit more time, though, to think it through. We'll see, find out a bit more information in terms of what exactly is going wrong.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to be back in the game fairly shortly as well. The timer's already ticking. We're into this next round of Icebox. So a very small tech pause, nothing to be too concerned about. G2 trying to make sure here that they get good info on A, tucking Valen into Nest.
It's a bit of a bluster, isn't it? 4 of their players looking to try and fight this one. Waiting a bit of time out here with a Dizzy and the Dart. Only the one connection. They know that they've got acknowledgement that there's an EDG player at least around, but they don't know how many. And the slow pace that EDG are applying right now is making G2 just sweat a little bit more. Valen even going for a couple of peeks here, but he's missed. Oh, no, not quite. It's nobody that's missed the timing here with a Cove to evacuate. It's going to be safety in numbers, backing all the way out of A. Almost expecting that reposition.
Choosing not to try to turn that into an all-out brawl like some teams might. There's that discipline of G2, dropping back in the 5v4. But with their weapons, still 3 players with Sheriffs, it's not yet a clear advantage.
Toxins going up.
Just the first hurdle that's cleared. About 40 seconds.
Look at all the space that Chichu got over towards B. Very early on dodge on those shots. Could have been bad for Simon.
Mid to B setup here. Leaf doesn't have the weapon to try and push this one back here, so should be an open side, but also being committed, and I don't blame them with only 20 seconds. Could be the difference maker. Simon going to be sticking that, going for the plan as well. Thrash doesn't really clear too much as well, but a backstab, no way! Responded and adjusted. Icy just whips it around and rips the head clean off. Out of Reckoning, lockdown, all going to be combined. EDG just trying to stem the bleeding and stop this one before it gets out of hand. Players are weak. G2, they committed a hell of a lot into this round for them to try and lose it. Slide awareness, Smoggy already wrapping this one. Thrash connecting, that's a detainment. And there's still potentially that time on the board to make a go of things. Damage done though. As a casual reminder, and Simon still with that nade in his back pocket. Could play spoiler to absolutely all of this one. It's already gone flying and Trent is finished. Icy with a defuse, but that's been broken. And already, I hear it, time has just squandered. Gotten away from G2, but the kills. Not away from these EDG players. Edward today is gaming.
G2 did a decent job of that, considering the amount of money that they had. I mean, that tuck into Nest, not cleared properly by EDG because they're contacting in, because they don't want to make it obvious what position on the map they are. There's going to be gaps. So G2 tried to exploit that. But at the end of the day, too little time and too much good post-plant utility. Double nanoswarms on the spike got broken by the shock, but they still had that fragment to work with. G2 get rifles back. Are they going to try something similar again where they go for a piece of aggression?
Take flight.
I think doing the same thing on A would be silly, but you know, going for a mid push like this where they triple up does seem like a decent idea. They were threatening flanks like this constantly in their opener against PaperX.
Using a drone now to take that space. I don't see the turret. It does give you access to flank most of the way. Instead, that one's just watching towards the flank because EDG want to go for this 5-player group up. Plant will go down here without too much, again, push back.
This turret position's actually lovely. You look at the position of Jonapi's wall. If the turret was on the left here, it would get blocked off by the Viper wall.
So it's broken. Alerts EDG now to the flank as well with its null command emanating out. Valindo catches the kill onto Kang. Wasn't expecting that one. Looking into the wrong direction. But the first kill does not necessarily mean a round win. We'll do the rest of the work past that point. Dizzy to clear this one. G2 blinded up, still lands the shot before the eventual trade and holding it tooth and nail in through the back. But G2 finally, with those guns in hands, put a round on the board.
It's the same flank play that ends up working out for them. It's been a staple of the G2 defensive playbook. They bring it out, and despite the turret realizing that they're out there, they get the round done. Mostly thanks to Valen and what he was able to do to control the post-plant aggression. You watch him take down Kang there, and that's an absolutely vital one. In those kind of spots, the Jet's always going to look to try to get aggressive and open up some space on the other side of the map. So the first attempt to stop the bleed in there from G2. Now they're going to start to get ults online as well, but I'm sure EDG are thinking up a response.
Yeah, that's despite the fact as well that Valen at Icy, they ended up using it into that half by round 6. To no avail. They're almost halfway to him again.
Very true.
Those kills and the diffusers stacking up.
This looks a lot like the same setup as when they pushed Valen into Nest. I think when you push up deep like this and then you get a recon die, you can be pretty certain that EDG are not just going to contact back in.
And they're just full running, full sprinting. Simon with a tap as well.
Trent too far away for the Hunter's Fury.
Yeah.
But he might get it on the next tap.
Oh, Walkabout Sleep has got to put a stop to that one. He will. Alternating the movement, making sure that he stays frosty. Aware of all these possibilities. Chichu is being caught out of position. Hunter's Fury, at least to relieve that pressure, does not do enough. So with Chichu dropped, that's 2 players now down for EDG. Plan going to be committed. Simon gets it, but that's going to be a tag onto him as well. Lit up, and already players fall one after another. G2 racking them up. That's 5 alive for a flawless round to get that second round just underneath them.
You see what a difference it makes when G2 anticipate what the round looks like from EDG, what nobody is calling. They had the protocol to flush out both of those lurkers through mid. Great discipline to even think of the second player in that spot. And the fact that they'd pushed out on A, got the recon deep as well, gave them enough peace of mind to know it was a full B hit. They weren't worrying about which direction things were going. The things that were working for EDG early on were when they were quiet and contacting, making it very difficult for G2 to read it, and G2 were playing more passively.
Yeah.
At the moment, this seems like a very good adjustment that came out of the tactical timeout, so EDG are going to try to make one of their own. See what Muggle can do. And Haldong, of course, got a lot of experience IGL in this team before in the past.
Yeah, it's an interesting note. I mean, we didn't really talk about it too much when we were covering the EDG game recently, but sometimes a shift up is what you need, honestly, because this EDG team, they felt just, I don't know, knocked down, unable to really get back up, I think, as well, after that series of losses to Shanghai. But they make a series of moves, switch it up. How long in the assistant coach seat? Fresh perspective, I think, especially from a former player, maybe exactly what the team needed.
Yeah, I think I would phrase it as that they had hit their ceiling. They were still performing very well in China, but they'd had one breakout event last year at Tokyo, and they weren't able to replicate that. They weren't able to go further than that. And so at that point, you got to take a risk. It might make you worse, benching Haodong and bringing in Simon and making all of these changes. But if it doesn't, perhaps it's the thing that's going to crack you through that ceiling and bring home a big result for a fan base that is extremely hungry for it. And now they're in a race with the rest of the Chinese teams by the look of things to crack a big result here at Champions.
Yeah. This knife just unable to get broken early off the rip here that Simon keeps throwing out, so he gets the tag and the information.
But it doesn't push G2 back. G2 still get good information. And this is not A.
Yeah.
Yeah, this usage of the recon dart, stuff like that, it's basically exactly the same round that we just watched. Last time, the wingman got denied by the nanoswarm from Leaf. and then you had ults ready to deny. I could see a very similar round happening here unless EDG have got something different. Well, the shock's a good first thing that's different.
To count the nano swarms. No longer a problem for them. Again, a lot of walking up behind these walls and underhanded flash. Simon wants to make a play for this one. Leaf was tucked though, and there is safety there, but not for the rest of his team. They couldn't quite follow up on all of that, so he's going to get traded. Tag up into the back. Thrash now followed through, straight through onto the site, but broken just before the detainment. Onto the high ground, Kang. He's getting quirky with it in terms of trying to play this spacing and timings as well. He's already flanked straight through, and Icy, he had the knife out, just was not expecting it. Deep dart. No to follow off of it. Trent is so damn concerned now. All these players, because Kang is ripping them to shreds, man.
What a great adjustment coming out of the tag timeout. Obviously, great individual play from Kang too, but I gotta give credit to Muggle and Howdon. We were just talking about how good the tag timeout was from G2. EDG hit the panic button and immediately come out with a round that looks exactly the same to the one they just ran, except they flash, they push deep, they trade out Leaf, who had the lockdown, and then they have all of that position for Kang to go nuts in the post plan.
This playstyle of EDG, it is almost hard countering the fact that G2 don't really have a natural. Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's really bad in this patch.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, you are not going to have any smoke for mid now. It's a good job that they break the turret, otherwise that would be giving permanent mid info.
Yeah. Well, the point I was just about to get on too is that there's not necessarily a natural op carrier on the G2 side. Something to punish, I think, a lot of this contact play that EDG are going for.
It's a great point. Icy, even when he plays duelist, doesn't pull out the operator too much. He is almost the opposite of Kang in many respects.
Yeah, he definitely is. Not leaning into it. Although Kang's rifling definitely been on the up and up now. A year plus, to be honest. And again, that contact playstyle, just walking all the way up. Shock dart again is good. Dash is active, but it's going to be dissipating. No value to be had. Just walking most of the way up. Another plant down. Shock darts are missing. So there will be no pushback, and there's that extension into round 10 now.
Kang's playing for this, trying to deny the lockdown.
He knows what to play for. Just needs some supplemented utility as well. I can hit a footsteps. Lovely side step. Just rips to it ahead. Clean off G2. Have no chance in hell to keep playing this one. Spam through the box. Leaf is lucky to be alive. He'll be backing all the way away. Needs to be defended here. They want to keep these guns.
This G2 team that's normally so good at shutting down superstar individual players.
They just cannot deal. I mean, cheeky.
They cannot deal with Kang.
We know the drill. Stick to your roles and
what we're getting from Kang in this map so far, it's Tokyo.
It really is. It's given Tokyo.
Tokyo.
12-4, top of the scoreboard. Not just for his team, but top of the leaderboard overall.
Yeah, and not just the kills that he's getting, but here, completely denies a lockdown opportunity, completely shuts down G2 trying to trade him out. You know, he's facing two players so often and killing them both. And that's going to win you rounds.
G2 are going to be desperate to salvage up any rounds that they possibly can before they get into that second half here for round 11. At least they do have the Viper's Pit in the back pocket already offloaded. Down through B main. One less thing to worry about. But the money isn't too good. Only a couple of players with a rifle, so you're looking at Icy, Val, and Jonah P to do the damage. Drone, get the tag and a break.
Yeah, Simon backs off as Chishu goes forwards. They're hoping that they don't read there was a second player there.
And it's just barely held. Jiggle peaked as well. Chichu almost lucky to be alive. There was a couple of players that quickly were looking to try and put a stop to this one. Trent plugs up the gap in through mid.
A is extraordinarily open, but if they commit to the B split, Jonah P could win the round still.
Allen's dropped. I think that's through the window. Leaf has got a lot to do into this spot as well, but just with the Stinger in hand, close quarter combat, even with him being set up for it, the pit's still up and active, walking around. Icy, he does drop Kang. With the Dizzy broken as well, he knows that there's even more where that come from, and Jonah P's worked his magic! Right from behind, just not expecting that. Level of awareness that went missing there for EDG into this round, and it leaves it to Chichu. One player running and gunning, but time is against him with only 12 seconds to do it all. Him versus Jonah P. The timing should be granted. You need to hit a miracle shot, but Jonah P won't even give him the chance.
That is brilliantly played by Jonah P. He gets out of his pit for a kill over towards Orange, and that makes the rest of EDG think he's still playing on site. He manages to duck back inside his pit.
That kill there.
Yeah, that kill is just so big. He manages to duck back inside his pit, and then they don't realize he's somehow managed to loop-de-loop behind them and picks them both up from behind. He's called the Professor for a reason, and that was locking down B with a Viper's Pit 101. Learn.
Yeah, I'd take that class. Wouldn't do me much good, but I'd take it.
I think the classes are normally more generalized than that.
Yeah,
it's
that's
extremely
incredibly specific for an opener.
Yeah.
Egotistical professor. We've all been there. Not me. Didn't go to university.
I got kicked out.
It's round 12. And there's big ults online for G2 here. Again, going for this re-clear into mid. They've been doing this quite a lot with the drone. Gives them peace of mind in that direction as well. They've got to get a good read, at least, that it's going to be leaning over towards the A side. They do have, again, the ults for the retake.
Yeah, and they're going to try to...
Leaf dropped.
Oh, that's huge. No lockdown now available. And Simon, if he pops ult, can deny the Reckoning. He's just got to get the timing right here.
You should run.
And locking down one avenue as well. Lockdown's going to be just dropped straight into the center of the site with his flank. They're going to be pushed out into all these extremities, and Smoggy is left to watch most of this one. Ducked, crouched. The peak timing is absolutely everything. And Smoggy delivering death blow after death blow and toying with his food at the end. He knows that he's essentially wrapped this one up. Running around him, not giving Jonah P any easy access. Not to the body. Valen shut out. G2 with a movement. Nice little jiggle. Pit in the face. Jonah P shut down and shut out of the round entirely. This is a 9-3 if I've ever seen one.
And a beautiful half from EDG. I mean, the way that they played around the ults in that final round completely outplayed G2. And then you think back to previous rounds where Kangkang is pushing deep onto screens to deny lockdown. They've just had a phenomenal awareness of how G2 are going to play around ults this whole half. And I'm sure that's going to extend into the next.
Oh, come on.
Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Wouldn't be a Valorant global event. I think we've had a few upsets now, early days so far, but with order number 1 Siege just taking a knock, and EDG looking primed and ready to take one of the best maps from G2 for G2 away in the form of Icebox early on with this 9-3 beginning. And my goodness, it's listen, China just one event too later, I think, as well. They probably would have liked to have done this at Shanghai, but they'll take now.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's a great question. Would you have preferred to win in China or win champs? I think most people would still say champs.
Oh yeah,
but to be honest, that might be a tough question for some of the Chinese players. But I mean, we're way far away from that. Way far away. But it's difficult not to get sucked up into the hype. Again, EDG, if they're able to close this out, would be looking good to be the best performing #1 seed in the tournament.
Yeah.
Which
what a
is,
world, man. What a world.
Yeah. G2 have got some time to fight back, but they need a pistol here for it to seem even remotely doable.
That's the trouble, is their attack side does look good, but as you mentioned, you need a pistol round to even just get the buffer room to breathe, because EDG win this one, you're looking at 11 on the board, and at that point, it's just, I mean, it takes anything. A swift breeze can potentially take you over the finish line.
This is where nobody absolutely shines. If there was a lurker over on A, he's dead right now. I mean, the risks that he's taking, he's a very feast or famine player.
We do love our nobody.
But nobody over on the A side. It was just guaranteed to his team as the IGL that this is a B hit. They should be able to completely box G2 in here.
They're going to go for a refine, a reclear. It's just a contact swing. Straight up, taking the fights as well. This one could get dangerous, and Dire still winning it potentially out as well. Kang needs some help here over the shoulder as well. Reinforcements have to arrive. He needs some defense, but still, yeah, G2 is right there alongside him. How could I doubt? The 10th round, a pistol round. EDG. Oh, yeah, they've heard all about the upsets.
Looking great there on the pistol. They got the read perfectly that it was on B. Is it a risk to go for a reclear like this when you know that they're 5-stack in B main? Absolutely. I mean, you're opting into a numbers disadvantaged team fight, and yet they still come out on top. They had that element of surprise, dodged the utility beautifully, and their players are popping. I mean, just take a look at the scoreboard here. I've been bigging up Kang. Smoggy was amazing in the game against Foot. Chichu's at the top of the scoreboard. Everything is working right now for EDG.
Right here.
It would be unfathomable that they dropped this map from this point.
It really would.
And that's without taking anything away from how good G2 have looked here. It's just, it looks like EDG's day here on Icebox.
Right there.
The read and more firepower hitting. Weapon in the hands of Smoggy. He's going to be hearing all this noise. Bullets sent flying. Straight into the back here. No punish though. Almost catching onto Smoggy. He's going to get overwhelmed. Surely will fall. Drop the gun into the laps of G2, including this plant. Time might get against him as well. It's long rotates on a map like Icebox.
Tucked up position as well from Trent and Valen. Looks like Valen's trying to bait for Trent.
It gets tricky at this point. It gets real tricky. They can be moving in and out as well. They're in the walls, man. They're in the walls, and it's all about collecting the kills when they're at least propped up, and opportunities are presented to you. Kang, not to be denied. It was looking tricky. You can see the health on a few of the players just to the right, especially when they get that plant down. I start to get a little bit worried, but all contained, all maintained in the end.
They are in control of the map. Dashing into
No, I respect that.
That's ridiculous from Kang.
That's ballsy. Oh. Time has paused.
Yeah.
You know what that means? Oh, it's a timeout this time.
Attack timeout from G2. When you call tack timeouts after only the pistol and the follow-up, yeah, I'm worried.
Yeah.
Because what kind of input can you really get from your coaching staff here that you didn't get during the halftime anyway? I understand that EDG are up to 11. Maybe you just want to run through the bonus, figure out what's going on. Maybe overall things are off. Comms, somebody's freezing up on stage, someone's not playing as you would expect them to. But that's the final timeout that G2 have access to. They're 8 rounds behind, and EDG are 2 away from closing things out.
Sorry, no more adjustments. I mean,
I think Josh might have a chance to talk to his team in just a couple of rounds' time, to be honest.
Definitely
face to face.
At least the turnaround mentalities. But maybe just throwing out a set strat, an idea, anything to counteract this momentum that EDG have right now. And I mean, they're going to be going into it with bonus round weaponry. A couple of the players didn't invest. They might be able to buy for the next. I mean, Kang might even just be choosing to make sure that he can save up for an operator.
It's very unusual the way that this map has played out, not just because it's a map that G2 are great at and EDG have looked a bit rough on in China, but also because G2 have all year been excellent at shutting down individuals that meet them one by one and get double kills, get multi-kills on them. They are very, very good at trading that out. We have seen so many multi-kills so far in this map. Huge ones, massive impact. And this looks like a scrap on B.
All in their face. Start to try and get your way past this one here with a Dizzy getting that acknowledgement. G2 send a couple of bullets through. Do collect the one. Drone as well on top of it. Kang has to respect that. So we will back away. Chichu, free exploration, underhand with the flash as well. Right from behind. That is sublime, man. EDG just cooking in the moment, and they brought it to that 3 versus 3. Simon up close, onto the corner. We'll have to give that one up. Backs himself away here, but they know that G2's there, and they want to refight it as well. These timings they're taking almost to perfection once more. A stop to anything that G2 are trying to go for here. 50 seconds left into the round. Could call for the pause, but your Viper's down and out. Can't even wall up and just try and fake like you could be rotating, faking like you could be walking up. Valent's hard committed, bodies and shoulders peeking out wide. In the danger zone here though, Chichu just overcommitting here, and Valent's the one to at least put a stop to all of that nonsense.
30 seconds left.
Simon now, last one left. First one's good. 2 more players to deal with. It was just a slight tap as well, and doubled up side by side, jumping around the corner to set this one up. Simon, a wonderful job to try and isolate these fights out, but only 2 bullets left to work with before he has to commit to the reload, and with the wide swing in the face, that bullet just will not land. The G2 get to stay and compete, at least on Icebox, for a little bit longer.
First time, actually, that we've seen EDG go for one of those defensive reclears or like a piece of aggression that is, I think, risky. We've talked about it being risky in previous rounds, but this is the first time that they lose it. Normally, they've still been winning out these situations, even when they take fights out in the open, trying to force the tempo up against G2. They would have to take risks like that and lose it so much more, though, for this map to become even close.
Not again!
Well, I mean, that's just 1 for 1, isn't it? Smoggy did it.
No way.
Why not for Jonah P?
Brutal.
See, the thing is, people are going to say that Jonah P's rattled in that situation, even though Smoggy did it earlier, and you know, he
when they were
dominating, massively leading.
Oh, yeah.
Not everything's fodder for the armchair analysts, but
it is for me. Ready to pick it apart. What 2,000 years of Roman war can teach you. This Kang is hyper committed. He's got nobody alongside him here. The Z connects though. They should know he's up top, and the dash will not save you. Nobody. Again, seeking to at least potentially get a few more kills. All for naught. 2 of them dropping. Drone as well. Simon was seeking a timing, but now he is just fully committed once more into the corner. Chichu responds, vacuuming up that space, but he's traded in that discipline, rearing his head to G2. He was singing the praises, expecting that level of play from them. It will grant them at least a round winner. It looks towards it. I mean, there's no real chances for Smoggy in this spot.
There shouldn't be an opening. And I do like that you highlighted that discipline, because you could see that spacing super, super tight.
There it is.
Beautiful as well, again there,
yeah,
as Trent swings, freezing that player in spot so that Jonah P can get the backstab. G2 were trying to do these things earlier on, and the individual ism from EDG was shutting them down. They were also slightly off, just ever so slightly, in terms of those multiple swings and timings. I mean, there's a pretty big difference between getting 2 players, one trying to trade, and Simon there getting swung with 4 at once.
I heard the crowd go, oh.
Shh, keep it down.
Oh.
I mean, you can't ask the crowd not to react when you bungle something at the beginning of the round, man. They're just going to do that.
That's funny.
That
EDG.
is funny.
Lighter weaponry here. Went for an attempt. Nobody will not give up this space either. In fact, the rest of EDG alongside him. Very pushed up through A main. Looking for a play. Chichu with the peek though. Turret did not get broken.
Yeah, both turrets actually staying alive throughout this round. The weaponry doesn't really seem good enough here, but if Chichu can bait so that they don't think about Smoggy.
And also, I mean, EDG have got the hardest read in the world, of course, with Kang getting all this space. Now he does get dropped here, but a pop flash play. Already going to be going live and active into it. Phantoms in hand. Jonah P will offset most of it.
Yeah, amazing from Jonah P again. There are a lot of threats in that round that EDG throw out. I mean, obviously there's Kang on the flank, which Thief shuts down, but like I said, that duo play between either Chichu and Simon, and then trying to set up Smoggy, who had the stinger. Jonah just swings kind of behind a few of the rest of his pack and takes them both down. He's anti-flash. Deals with them really nicely there. But Valen did use Reckoning. So they're not saving big ultimates for big moments. They used the Thrash when they were in a 5v3. They used the Reckoning on an anti-eco. They're not feeling comfortable enough here, G2, to save the ults for when it matters. And right now, this round really matters.
I can't blame them. EDG are up to 11, but you are right. Sometimes you have to
take flight.
Stretch whatever resources you have. Really quite thin. Drone. Tags onto the one with a Dizzy as well, so nobody knows that there's two players here. Despite that fact, he's not backing away. Wants to take the up-close angle.
These are the kind of moments where it worries me that nobody is playing aggressively like this because, again, you're 5 rounds up. You actually don't need to take these kind of risks. But maybe a risk like this will end up putting them over the line.
It's just a feed waiting to happen, Trent. Okay, the drone's going to be used as well, so nobody will get the hell out of there. Lockdown's going to be used as a response to this. EDG going to be...
They have Sovereign.
Yeah, there's a Sovereign to break this one, so... Someone to break that fast as well. Plant down from Icy with the wingman dropped, so at least getting themselves into the post plant. They've got plenty more util where that came from as well.
Look at Jonah P out here on B, by the way.
He's going to be trying to wrap this one while nobody's way ahead of the rest of his team as well. So with him drop, first kill advantage gone away. And honestly, the fight might just be over before Jonah P even gets into the fray. Icy. 3 on the board, there's 2 plays left to stand. You know the maths. Adds up to potentially an ace, but not anymore. Jonah P.
My ultimate is ready.
Finally strikes right from behind there, so all the timing's taken. And Icy's just running his body in, bait on the end of a stick.
Jonah P got up to the Viper's Pit, and Icy's not too far away from Thrash now as well after he popped off in that round. He's only 1 away. So after my criticism of how G2 were using their ults, they've actually just managed to win an incredibly crucial round, fairly dry, to get the ult cycle working again. And as much as we were talking about, EDG
they're going to do some
lead,
weird play this round.
EDG are going to take attack timeout, and you hear Trent already calling it out there. He's expecting something unusual. Something that's going to knock G2 off their game to push them over the edge. I could absolutely see that. I mean, Kangkang also has Blade Storm.
Yeah.
If there was going to be any round where Kangkang's going to dig a tunnel and pop up behind you or something, some kind of weird thing that Haodong's cooked up.
Yep,
It
certainly.
would be this one. Yeah, but what I was going to say was G2 are actually starting to make this look reasonable. The gap's down to 4. They've just won 4 in a row. And we're starting to see Valen really heat up with his attack side call and getting a nice read on what's happening in the game. So,
how many rounds do G2 need before you start to become a bit of a believer?
Only 1 more rifle round.
1 more rifle round?
Yeah,
so if they
absolutely.
Win this,
if they win this and win the next rifle round, it's 11-9. Probably EDG have used a lot of their ults, and then it's it is game on at that point. Obviously, 2 more rounds is not the easiest thing in the world for G2 to be able to string together. That would be 6 in a row. But let's keep our focus in the here and now, because Trent was expecting something silly, something weird.
About to find out if EDG have been cooking with it. As you mentioned, there's a Blade Storm here in the mix for Kangkang. He'll be holding on to this one. The defensive setup, though, hasn't really shifted that much. I mean, EDG not going for any stacks onto various sites here, just going for the same old, same old. It's just nobody playing over towards A, mid, locked down by Chichu.
They're keeping a very confident read that G2 do not go A early on. You see that the A site is pretty open almost all the time. It's only nobody holding towards there. This looks like very specific prep they've done against G2 on Icebox.
Yeah.
And thus far it's been all right, but G2 have done great with the space that they've taken on A. They're so patient here, G2, waiting for that aggression, but EDG also matching them bar for bar with the patience.
Yeah, right down to that minute mark. And through mid, Chichu wants to take the peak. Wide committal. No heads to be popped.
You can't allow the time to run too low here if you're Valen, because nobody has that Hunter's Fury.
Seeing that pressure as well, might be calling for a few bodies moving over towards them. Not too much shift, though, occurring. In fact, EDG are kind of scattered to the wind right now. In fact, making the rotations over towards A. And here's the danger zone that you were talking about right now, Josh. Nobody.
I think play off site here, play for your ult.
Yeah, but he's not intending to do that one. I see what the plans. Already 7 forwards need to be defended. It's not. And already broken. Nobody in Chichu. They strike from the sides to pin to play. Double pronged in the approach. And guess what? It's worked out fully in the favor. The flash repeat again in the refight here with the rifles. They've got to try and sail their way
through this course, but already it's tumultuous indeed. Time running them down, and a thrifty win to get EDG up to that 12.
G2 were ready for it. G2 knew it was coming, and yet they still could not stop it. Ran perfectly into that read. EDG had 4 players rotating over to the A side, only Kangkang on the other side of the map, before the plant was even anywhere near ready to go down. The patience from G2 ended up being their worst enemy there. Time was not on their side. And now, whereas it looked like those 4 in a row were going to set a comeback on the path for G2, suddenly EDG won away.
As I said earlier as well, it's the case when you get up to that 11th, you know, all it takes is one thrifty and a swift breeze to knock you over the finish line here for EDG, because just even now under pressure from the shoulders of G2 right now. Once more, playing it slow initially here, but now waiting it out and taking a main control. They have ults to use and expend, but EDG are ready for this one. There's a knife held into the hand as well with the drone, and to the thrash is going to be cancelled almost immediately. And nobody, he's right in their faces, a flash and an overhead. Simon is swinging wildly into them and still returns with 2. Just before that trade comes up, with 2 left to stand from G2 themselves. Dizzy, drone, I believe, spotting both. And this is a disaster for G2 here. Individual is going to have to bail them out of this spot. 50 seconds, you can afford to slow it all the way down to a crawl if you want to, but couldn't have asked for a better beginning to the round here for EDG.
No, they're looking good for it. Nobody tucking himself into Generator. Is this a spot that G2 can even afford to clear? This setup looks nice from Nobody and Chichu.
It's a crossfire. Dart though, that's not broken. Trent though, he's going to be dropped and damage done straight through the wall. Wingman broken once more. Icy. Decay down, a tap, forcing them forwards into the fight as well. Needs to try and isolate some of these fights. Done so, 1v1, all to survive, Icy! It's only gone and done it!
It's survival! That's what that means for G2. My God, did it take everything from them. EDG's setup looked really solid on site there. They've been breaking these wingmans very consistently when they've been coming into A. Thrash was irretrievable. Didn't make a difference in the round at all, and yet IC didn't need it. Great kills towards the end. A fantastic fake plants for him to be able to get up into a position to win that.
You can't argue with that.
Leaf is picking up an attack side op to try to make something happen. 4 chances remain for EDG to close.
Kang himself wants to go with things. Dash was activated off the back of that util. It's going to be fading away though. Still an aggressive off angle that he's committed to. And Chichu going re-exploring into mid. He hasn't been punished for these peeks onto the turret up until now.
Did he get a spot to know that Leaf is playing with an attack side op as well? No idea. Nobody looks like he wants to take another swing at this. They still have the turret up for mid information, but they're so hungry for it.
Yeah. The difficulties here for ED, or for G2 I should say, is don't want to be running into the same problems that opened you up for the thrifty loss earlier.
Absolutely.
EDG up to 12, with time becoming an issue once more potentially. Thrown up and over. The nice is dodged, only tagging onto the 1 as well. Might be a bit of that false information. Oh, underhanded Simon. Is eager for the scrap. Does come up with the 1. Is he going to be into his face as well? Plenty of targets up and over. Jonah P just did not know which way to adjust. And this is it, surely. The impetus to take away this map. Nanoswarm's at your feet, Detted, ready and waiting. Trent is spotted, taken out, swinging wide. Simon denied, but not enough to deny. I see that one still. 13-8 for the finish. EDG, they get it over that finish line, and Icebox is theirs.
An incredible map to open things up in this series. EDG want the win. They've taken a massive scalp there by taking Icebox away, and it's their brand new player Simon that closes things out.
Phenomenal stuff from EDG all throughout the map as well. Absolutely deserved. And now it's shaky ground and territory as we look forwards to Haven. Map 2 for G2.
From dusk till dawn, I'm a loose sleep. I ain't tryna live broke like you be. I've been coming for the bag, I do me. Will I get paid? Absolutely. Cause you better knew a boss like Takeoff. I ain't left all bad and bougie. Heard them talk, they barely knew me. I ain't let no stranger fool me. When I came in the game, y'all showing that fake love. I ain't look past your jewelry. Now this ride is foreign. Every whip I drive imported. Anybody know me, they know. For this game, no, I'm dying for it. I'm on now. Give me that crown, yeah. Ain't nobody out here really wanting me. I'm going hard while you falling asleep. I got it all cause I deserve it all, y'all. Just being honest, they don't wanna see me honest. I'm taking over this game now and that's a promise. Stay out of pocket, they don't wanna believe I got it. Give me that crown now cause I'm the king, call me your highness.
It's a great day to be a fan of VCTC, and I'm now joined by the head coach of EDG, Muggle, and Luna here to do some translations as well. Now, I've heard a lot of discourse that looking at EDG this time around is giving the same feeling as you guys back in Masters Tokyo. And of course, at Shanghai, you guys underperformed a little bit. So how did you guys manage to turn things around and look this good in the space of time that you guys have had?
很多人都说觉得这一次的 EDG 有一些回到东京大师赛的那个感觉了。那在上海大师赛可能表现并没有那么的达到预期，但是现在你们表现得这么的好，是做了哪些调整呢？
进行了一些记忆阻断练习吧，就是忘掉有某一些我们后面可能学习的太杂七杂八的东西，然后回归这个游戏最本身的玩法。
I think we're trying to forget that kind of things really like make us be chaotic. Just go back to the pure game.
Oh, thank you very much, Luna. Thank you very much, Muggle. Best of luck on map 2.
Welcome back, everyone, and guys, it's happening! Oh no! Listen here, as the host of VCT Americas, let me just say for a minute, today's a dark day in our history. But hey, we're not out of the woods yet, right? I'm not selling out my boys in G2 quite yet here, but we got to talk about EDG because obviously not only did they win, they dominated, they looked great, they had their number, they shut them down round after round. I mean, Paperton, this was clinical from them.
No, I'm very, very impressed here with the game plan from EDG in that they get to the post plants, and what would normally happen with Paper X, they're sitting way back. Like, their furthest like forward player on A site is on A nest, and then they're like dice and then on the back.
Yeah.
They're getting ahead of that. They're pushing screens. They're trying to contest G2 when they're trying to cut in towards the site, and they're cutting players down on the way through, and that's what started to snowball their success. Snowball these rounds, and then when they'd get a little bit spicier, when they'd start to get the mud flowing, is when they get a few of those opening kills, and then they'd start pushing.
Join me in the mud. Right. No, but I will say, though, what Coach Muckle said, I mean, they played beautifully. That wasn't money at all. I actually quite enjoyed everything that I was seeing from the Machilios.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple scary moments where there was a run back happening, but I want to highlight Kong and Smoggy because from the outset to be able to get that 9-3 half to start things off, it was widely on the backs of these two players with some really excellent setups from the likes of Simon as well, whose util usage was very much on point. But Kong and Smoggy, they were doing the heavy fragging in that first half. They got them that advantage, which then made it a little bit easier to close things out on the defending side. G2 trying to make it happen. It looked like we were going to be going into an OT for a little bit there, but ultimately EDG were able to put their foot down, and this is a fantastic way for them to kick off this series as, again, G2's map pick.
Yeah, 100%, man. What a way to start off for them. And something we do got to note real fast is, a big win condition for this G2 lineup has been Leaf for a very long time. And what he brings to the table on the lurks and how he plays around the map effectively, he was utterly shut down. He had little impact, which, that seems like a key to victory for them here.
I kind of talked about it, what we were seeing from them over at Shanghai when G2 were having their struggles, when they were dropping games. It's when Leaf wasn't able to find that impact. But similarly, we saw some struggles from the likes of Trent, who's normally very much on point when it comes down to those Sova Dart lineups, but we saw a couple of them trying to interrupt those plants in that first half, going wide, not really landing on the mark whatsoever. So things like that need to be tightened up. However, as we have seen from G2 over in Shanghai, drop a map, get the download complete, come back in and dominate the series. That's still very possible here.
Yeah, very true, very true. All right, well, let's go ahead and cool down on the existential dread of being America's fan for a second here and just look at some bingo. We got some stuff to fill out here. So we got Icy gets first kill. Congratulations, Icy. You are very good at the game. And then we have Valen 3K. Ay, también. And then we get a tech pause. So, just make fun of ourselves sometime. So we're so close. G2, brother, come on. You got to clutch it out.
G2 just needs to win a map.
If G2 can get the win,
G2.
if Clove gets picked at all, or, there's a couple different things.
Team Ace would help.
We're hoping for the G2 map win so we can get bingo.
I think it has to be the series one.
Oh, it doesn't? We'll
otherwise
numbers.
We would have put in the EDG win.
That's just too much time. In any case, let's go ahead and hear what Josh RT has to say as we get ready for map 2.
I'm standing by with G2's head coach Josh RT ahead of map 2. Now, we're going to Haven, and Haven is not really a map that we've seen you guys play a lot of in official. So without leaking anything, what can we expect from you guys?
I think we're going to have a much better performance this time around. We just experienced some tech issues in the first game. But moving past that, you're going to see a new Haven coming up. I think it'll surprise them a little bit, and we'll bring it to map 3.
Thank you very much. We love new stuff. Good luck.
Okay, a new Haven. Brother, I'm in. Okay, sell me.
Yeah, I don't think that's too shocking. This has been a very middling map for them overall. They've only played it twice and have a 50% win rate here in 2024 on that map. So doing something new, I don't think is going to be the biggest surprise.
Yeah, they were just running the stock standard Haven comp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the breach and everything that you would normally go, the KO, Sova, all that stuff. So this is going to be interesting. If he says they have something new cooked up, what does that mean?
That worries me.
Do we have a Neon in there, maybe? A lot of teams are leading into Neon comps.
Whoa! Okay.
Or the Yoru. That's the other one.
Okay. And Kong, of course, going to be playing that Neon, so look for him to get real big impact with that.
Yeah, but this puts a lot more weight on Icy's shoulders as that Yoru, as that solo duelist here needs to be really smart about his timings because we've seen so many teams struggle with just solo entry Yoru, whereas the Neon, that's something that can go in and very much take over games.
Yeah, but this is a comp that Fnatic runs very, very well on this map, or very similar at least with the Yoru, so they've definitely got some good ideas to base it off of. You've got the Viper in there now as well, so you can use those walls to kind of obscure what you're trying to do with the Yoru a little bit better and things like that. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to work for G2. They've had some time to cook. This could be pretty spicy.
Yeah, there's a lot of confidence going into this one, right? If you're G2, you put all your eggs into this basket, and it better pay off. Can they force a map 3? Let's send it back over to your casters, Bren and Sideshow.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, it's a lot resting on the shoulders of these G2 players that this Gambit, and I'm sure that they put time into, at least with this composition on Haven, but the fact that it needs to pay off here because you've already started a map down. It's unorthodox for sure.
And EDG's actually looking really competent on this map. I liked what I was seeing from them.
Hard agree.
EDG are going into the defense side here of Haven with a chance for another big win for China. Their flood defense on this map is beautiful to watch. They also fight super hard over A lobby, so whoever's job it is to try to lurk down behind that Viper wall, good luck to you, buddy.
Yeah. It's a gate crash, though. It's dropped down, so I see feigning and faking that they're going for this A pressure. It's going to keep most of these EDG players at least tethered to the spot.
Actually, both teams faking here because EDG were making it look like it was only nobody playing A when suddenly there's 4 players over in that side of the map.
Both teams trying to obfuscate their intent here. And now the swarm dropped down! Hot feet there for Leaf. Unable to really rest the steady hands there for the kill onto Chichu, but catching this in theory and at least in practice too. Trent does get that kill. So Kang down as a 4 versus 4. Spike planted for G2. Going for that re-exploration in through Garage. Chichu, 40 health, will be dropped. He's looking to put the squeeze of the rest of his team onto these players here. Icy still comes up with 1 just before the trade, but they're missing these timings onto one another. And now just 2 against the 3. G2 have got to try and hold this one back here. Util in the back pocket. Simon's got that fault line. It's going to be let loose along with the paranoia in through the back. Valen could not stand a chance against it. And you know where the last is. Jonah P is no more. Another pistol round here for EDG. We were highlighting the ideas that they had coming into this map. They look well drilled on Haven. That's why it's that scary, tumultuous territory here for G2. It's a map that they haven't looked too hard at. You know, they've had to experiment. They've had to run different compositions, at least here and now. But for EDG, you're going to start to see a lot more of that, I think.
You note as well that Jonah P uses his orb to place that over towards spawn and make the retake very difficult. Where did EDG come from? From the flank, from Garage. Only Chishu, the only player coming from spawn. All of the others went on the flank. EDG know how to play against this composition. You can tell right from the pistol round that they're comfortable playing against Viper comps.
Smoggy potentially going to be tested here.
Shadows traveling.
It's just G2 feigning like they are. They want to grab an orb, see if they can pull a few players out of position, maybe get a kill. Meanwhile, full lobby control. Nobody's holding onto the drone like, do I use it? What's going on?
Playing aggressively like this is really, really strong against this Viper wall. It's aggressive. It can be punished in other ways.
Just bonkers, though. I mean, going for the flash re-clear. Wow. And the crossfire's already been set up, and it's a gun given away, but Leafy's got his back wide open, so Simon will happily take that time in against him. Aftershock is good too, in through the back. Icy trying to TP and make a play happen, but it's a second one now accrued up here for EDG. Not too much damage and danger into it. It still keeps 3 of these players intact. With at least a few of the guns.
They're doing fine, though. There was 2 players that didn't even buy into that round, so they kept all 3 pieces of weaponry. They're doing fine. EDG's bonus is going to be very potent.
There.
And we've yet to really see G2 a good opportunity to get in.
That goes there.
It is going to be tough for Icy to get into position. Paperthin made the comparison to Fnatic's composition. But Fnatic's comp, the Yoru makes space for an ISO. That doesn't exist here. Someone else on G2 has got to step up. Probably Valen going in and trading these out.
The sound bait here out towards A lobby.
Still making it feel like it's only nobody home on A.
That fault line still being held by Simon. A little bit of mid-rounder, making sure that they can break some of this util. It's drone forwards and through B. All the trips going to be dealt with here. We're barely down into the minute mark.
It's good defaulting.
Oh, Simon, what are you going for here? You silly Billy. Dropped, man. He's taking risks to try and get that mid-round information. Stun connects, but Lee's covering over the shoulder. All it takes is a few bullets to drop down Kang.
That is an enormous risk. Just a hard read that G2 were going back and going into an A exec.
Smoggy barely spotting the shoulder on either side here. He is the one in danger. But at the end of the day, you got to take risks. It's a good paranoia. Doesn't connect onto too many more of them as well. They want to make a good go of things here, but Trent's going to be swinging this with the might of the rest of his team, and they do put a stop to any sort of bonus round aggression.
Well, that's a lot of economic damage done towards the end there, though. I mean, considering the way that this started with G2 fully in control, map control all over the place, breaking all of the Cypher utility, like very good slow defaulting, the thing that you come to expect from G2. And it baits out that push from Simon, which was absolutely ill-advised. Considering that's how the round began, the fact that they've done serious damage to the economy.
It's not too bad.
Light armor on 3, Bulldogs on 2. That's a really solid bonus in the end, results-wise, for EDG.
Toxins going up.
Probably going to be seeing more of the same here from G2. Real cautious at the beginning. EDG fully disrespecting A lobby, just walking all the way up. Now they hear the Euro all popped up, and G2, he wants nothing to do with it. Orb over the top as well. It's just straight from the lineup, but EDG players going to be trying to evacuate into the arms of Leaf. Already sucked up position in through garage here. They hear the footsteps as well. EDG just crossed up, nobody not expecting, like Leaf could already have repositioned there. Fake into the TP, Kang. Not going to be setting his eyes there for long, but not also going to be winning out the fight. He's going to be dropped. And at this point, with just Simon and Smoggy left alive, forced to save these rifles.
And Simon's petrified. He thinks that Leaf is going to be coming around behind him. In his head there, Leaf was just pushing out garage, and Leaf is going to be popping out of, window or pushing around behind him. He thinks he's fully stuck in that spot. Now, obviously, we can tell that Leaf had decided not to take that particular snack and had gone off in a different direction to make sure that the post plant was secure in other areas. But yeah, EDG getting a little stressed out in these final 2 rounds with the correct ways to respond to things. There was a beautiful insert, though, from Valens calling to get Leaf into that garage window position. That was lovely. But what we've seen from EDG in China is that they enjoyed flood defending on C. And that means that Chishu, Smoggy would hold their ground on C, anchor the site, and other people would come in to reinforce that. Now, I think one of the reasons that they are feeling like they can't do that here is because they've got 3 people defending A very late into the round, because they can never be sure that A is clear. You watch the way that EDG defend on the A site, they're holding the fault line, they're holding the stuns, they're not actually going for early round flushing out A lobby.
Valens walked straight past, there's no TP necessary, nobody punished for the hubris. Yes, it is these weaker weapons in the hands of these EDG players, and they want to try and make usage of them, but to their own dismay.
Spike drop. Time to jump. Decoy.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money as well, talking about that kind of push and pull from EDG, where the defense onto A is going to be weaker. Kind of looking to do some damage.
Yeah, it's not necessarily weak, it's slow. I think that's the biggest issue that EDG are currently having. In an ideal world, they would want to flush out A lobby, clear it out, and then get back to doing what they're doing on the rest of the map.
G2 just going to be looking to get some players out alive, although Leaf might want to go hunting. 2 away from a pretty big ult. He's the one watching the flank though, and money is booming, so don't really have to worry too much about losing some of these guns. Taking a jiggle, Simon spotted, taken out. And Kang's last one left, right through the wall.
And to add some additional context to G2's Haven, we haven't seen it very much this year.
No.
We've only seen it twice, I believe. Both times playing this over Breach comp, which was a surprise to us. Because when G2 were playing in Tier 2 under the Guard, they were known for pushing forward this Viper Omen composition and really selling new ideas and ways of playing it. I believe they invented this version of the Viper Wall as well, whereas other teams were using one that goes over towards the A spawn connector. A lot of other teams stealing their ideas, loving the way that Jonah P and Valen were playing on this map.
You're already seeing the difficulties for EDG to get a handle on that A lobby control. Unless they fully commit with bodies and a bit of utility to clear it out early. The Viper Wall.
Deploying drone.
Yeah, I think nobody needs to be using his drone from short to clear out that area while someone else jiggle spots A long. This is a mistake I think that a lot of people make against this Viper. Certainly one the Sentinels made when they were playing.
G2 right now, they're fishing for a couple of ults to be used, misused by EDG. They've got a lot in their back pocket. See the tap of the orb, that was the intent of it, to see if they had those protocols to
both flashes have been used already on A just to re-clear for information. And there are still 3 players deeply committed to the A site of 50 seconds on the clock. They're not ready to flood defend into B right now. Now they're starting to get a move on. Now they're starting to get here.
Fault line's good. Aftershock even better. We'll be able to get themselves out of there with the util. Yes, at least now the rolling thunder clears it, but it's an open and empty side at the end of the day. Kang. It's like tap. Forces out the first wave of things, which happens to be the bullets. Snakebite laid out on top. All alongside it. All grouped up. There needs to be an extra element here from EDG if they want to try and navigate this spot and situation. It's a drone out and through. It's going to get that tag onto Valen. Going to be util used to clear him out here. Wall blocking the way, but holding it down out through garage and whipping the rifle around, spraying. Not quite praying. It was all quite precise at the end of the day here for G2, but very well organized and navigated. As I said prior, I mean, a lot of ults to try and deal with and get through there to even get themselves into a plant position.
And they didn't bait any of them out. I mean, in terms of the post-plant ultimates, sorry. The ultimates that G2 had in their back pocket to make that post-plant a checkmate situation, it didn't even have to use them. Specifically the Hunter's Fury, but Leaf with the kills even got his lockdown online. That's going to be another amazing one to add to the arsenal. So, tag timeout called here by EDG. They've got to figure out how to stop the Rock, because this is now 4 rounds in a row, likely 5 in a row, and they've used that breach ult. There wasn't really a push down mid there going on.
No.
There haven't been any opportunities for them to push up aggressively on C or A. They tried once to get Nobody and Kangkang on a deeper line in A lobby, but when that didn't work and the flank didn't pay off, it seems like they've been disinclined to go for it again. And unfortunately, what that means is G2 have just got their run on the map. Right now, it's almost like there's no defense for the first minute of the round as long as they don't go into a site. They can go garage, they can go down short, they can go up mid as long as they don't go into B. They're not getting contested.
No. Free reign to just break all the util passively laid out across the map here. So Chichu's trips, there's no play off of them most of the time when they're getting broken.
He must be having a nightmare as well. He keeps buying all of this utility and then it just gets broken.
Yeah. Within the first 40 seconds, G2 just taking their time with that one. And this entire comp of EDG, it really relies, I think, on either following the noise cues or knowing exactly where the hits are coming through so they can either flood defend, help some anchoring players, but when it's getting slow to a crawl like this by G2, they're forced to spread their players out, and you can't really play to the advantages of the composition. Here's a bit of a push, looking like they're trying to feign, like they're fighting over A lobby, at least with the early stun, and Kangkang is immediately getting the hell out of there, but it's just a cheeky play. Throw out there when your money's a little bit weaker.
At least this time, though, they also have Nobody posted up with a Marshal, so this is going to allow them to rotate other people off. You know, this line that he's on is going to allow the defenders to stack more over towards C rather than keeping those 3 cemented on A. This is the kind of thing they could maybe try to add into their rifle rounds.
Oh, Valen, oh my, Nobody's catching the contact. I also heard the ult popped off into the background. It's Kangkang using it, but already understands that the rotations have to be coming through fast at it. Nobody's going to need some help now. He's going to be swarmed into this short position. Oh, still there, but it's going to be running short. Kills need to be found from it. The stun is almost perfect. Yes, indeed it is. There's that util that we're talking about. They've got spades of it to try and refight those areas, and what a time to do it. And Trent. Oh my. 30 seconds left into the round, but surely you can't do it in a 1v3.
30 seconds left.
Spike hard committed into the middle of nowhere. EDG's eye set on it.
Too little time on the clock, surely.
Yeah, no, there's no way. Unless there's a weakness that crops up here for EDG, but they just catch it. The contact as Trent was sneaking around. So there's a thrifty win to put them onto the board.
And that's what EDG have been looking for the entire game, is that setup between getting aggressive on people as they're executing with some breach util. That couldn't have been better from Simon. His players are just stunned up, unable to do a thing. Valen's the only one that could have bailed them out of that situation. And he whiffed and also had Leaf jumping around in his face. Couldn't even see the player that he was shooting at, really.
There.
Small bump in the road there for G2, but if they get right back on things here with like a Euro ult, Sova ult kind of combo, then they won't be too worried about dropping it. Kangkang looks to disrupt.
Just holding time as well, but that turret's going to be dropped down. Kangkang, you are right into the middle of nowhere, using both the glides, but he just cannot escape. from the fight that G2 were just squaring up to.
He knows he has to get aggressive in that spot, though, because if you just let G2 fight, that ult combo is going to be deadly.
That's all occurring in the first 30 seconds. Nobody now will be using that drone to clear up and through into shore. Don't believe it's spotted onto IC. EDG's defensive setup again has to scatter. Losing Kang. Players going to be spread thin. Nobody getting that tag as well. And you're going to be hearing that Euro popped off now. Corners are cleared by IC. Nobody going for, again, that re-exploration. It's a risky play that does not pay off for him.
I'm back. EDG will go for it just to, you know, poke, prod, see if they can get a pick. But if they can't, this is looking like a save round already. But
Simon's missed.
With a couple kills, with 1 or 2, suddenly it becomes worth going for.
Especially with the damage done to Trent already. Simon's got, again, that util ready. Valindo holding the paranoia. It's going to be using this one pound for pound unless you have a plan around it. There's the blind and there's the smoke. Already down and out here. Time is going to start to tick here for EDG. Smoggy is waiting for his win con to try and play himself into this spot. Blinded up matters not, at least for G2. Got that discipline, making sure to play together as a pack.
And it only hurts the economy there of Simon. I mean, he's the player with 250 credits that might be feeling the squeeze a little bit. The others might be able to scrap together a buy. We'll see what decision they end up coming to. But yeah, that's the reason that Kang goes so aggressive at the start of the round. If you allow G2 to get into a spot, they're just going to Yoru ult. If the Yoru spots somebody on site, they can Solver ult afterwards. Very difficult to dodge that. Lockdown also to try to open up sites. They've just built up such big ult combos that they can use here to try to close out this half. We're in round 9 already. And EDG have actually ended up going for a half buy. They chose not to force.
The economy's gone a bit skew with.
That was the danger of committing to the retake. That's why I said it might have just been a save round, but they were baited into going for it after that pick on Leaf in mid.
Here. Smoggy's going to be priming the paranoia. Kang with deep control out towards C as well. There's a lot of information to give the rest of EDG, knowing that G2 are just sitting pretty. Or potentially giving up most of mid control. Thrown out. Used pound for pound again. Broken, taken out. Smoggy still holding, spammed, expected. Heads up play by G2. And they don't overcommit into it. Instead, walking over. Kang's at an off angle. All he needs is the one kill, but running way ahead of it. It's a flash, or at least a stun, at least, to play himself out, and he's done so with perfection. Nobody right from behind as well, making sure that this is really putting a squeeze down. That's ludicrous.
EDG and winning Thrifty rounds. Iconic. Also, I am loving these fault lines from Simon. Oh my God, they're coming from Narnia.
He's cooking.
Straight out the wardrobe. I mean, he is miles away when he's throwing these. Take a look at this.
Yeah.
Have a look at the minimap and see where he is. He's on B.
And he's throwing that one out.
He's
to make sure that nobody can swing off of Trent.
Yeah. There's no... Trent jumps through there, and his movement indicates somebody on G2 is supposed to trade that out. They can't. They're stunned. Another beautiful moment from Simon with his supportive utility. It won't really show in the stats, but you can see it here. It's been a number of rounds now since Leaf has had this lockdown online. They could have tried to build a round, trying to get it into a position, you know, deep down short, tuck it into Bunny. But instead he's been covering the flank.
Yeah, never really in a position to use it. Might be getting challenged soon.
Yeah, that flank coverage may be coming through in this round.
No one's watching this. Nothing to take point and contact from it. The players have already pushed up from G2 straight into mid with the drone. Again, they are none the wiser. 3 players now. Kang leading the charge as the spearhead for the team and striking right where it hurts. It's G2. You're going to be left reeling, and you have to pivot. You have to hard react now into the A site. It's the only option open. Already they've got these kill trip setups, and Smoggy's already repositioned. The reinforcements have arrived at that. An ult committed up onto the high ground. This is an awkward position for G2 to be into. Jonapy with a plan, but he's pushed back and away from it with the damage done onto all of them. And already tacked up, a kill to be claimed. Jonapy dropped. Valen is right there at him. Kang going to be found. Simon's right from behind. Again putting the squeeze.
and just not expecting it.
EDG are coming out with some brilliant, unexpected moves to turn the tide of this map completely. The rounds that they've won have not been based off having some immaculate defense. It's been based off putting people in unexpected positions. Kang tucks down into a spot. Simon stuns off the back of it. This round, they get a triple push coming out of C. They're finding the gaps in G2's expectation and G2's literal gaps in their defenses, if you want to talk about that round. Slipping in behind Leaf. A timeout call for G2. I think they could have been fast playing some of these ults. At this point, I mean, you're not going to get them back in the half.
No.
Right? So it comes down to finding the right moment for them. But
I mean, you got them so early on, you're basically going to get one ult per half at this point.
Yeah. Are you going to really be able to find moments to use Lockdown, Hunter's Fury, and Viper's Bit all in one round?
Yeah.
Probably not. That's why I was advocating for using them in round 9, round 10, maybe even earlier. But all right, it's 5 apiece. EDG balloons slightly with the win of the pistol, but still with a nice comeback here to even things up. G2 with a scrappy buy, but they are going to force.
Okay. In the danger zone potentially, but there's only 2 rounds left to play for in this first half.
The Guardian and the Bulldog are not great in these kind of spots.
What are they going to go for? As you mentioned, they haven't gone quick into really any of these rounds. Could be trying offset against the conditioning that they've been laying down, which is that slow play, but maybe that will get read by EDG.
If they do increase the tempo, Kang is on the wrong side of the map. But no, G2 decide to play this one pretty similarly to the rest of their rounds. Slowly. There's that alarm bot over towards C. Not sure what happened with the alarm bot in the previous round. I wasn't paying attention to it. So that's going to stop any kind of push now from happening.
Through spots outmost. It's the trip here for the defensive setup. Kang's at the up though. Great line of sight. Good awareness though from G2, already jump spotting this one with the smoke in their face to try and feign like they're crossed up here. But a Lockdown's not going to be stretching into the back section of this C site. And Kang will be able to hold his ground, stand it down. Hunter's Fury now into the corner. That is a nice set play. Haven't seen that one in quite some time. Reminiscent of EG on Fracture back in the day. And I see we'll be able to get that plant down as a result of that one. So baiting him in, but he hadn't cleared Smoggy, but the trade is intact. And there, Valen rewarded with it. That patience that's being played, and with the pit drop down into the back. Juju's desperately hunting for the neural theft. He does get it off and stays alive. But what can EDG do with that information? Stun into the corner again. Global util, it's been good. Trent is basically dead to rights. Indeed, cleaned up just from that utility. Time might start to become a problem. Spike's ticking away. Chichu with another one. Pit's still up though. Gotta worry about this one.
It's not planted for the pit.
Yeah, it's playing out wide here. The tap. He knows he's not playing onto the contact. Jonah P is going to be weaving in and out. Still going to be coverage. There he jumps around the corner, but it's Diamond who saves the bloody day. No! Oh, Time getting away. 0.36.
That's a ridiculous situation because there wasn't a player on G2 there that really slowed that down. EDG probably could have played that half a second quicker and still had the same result. I mean, you know, Valen maybe slows things down just a slight amount, but it's all just based on when Chichu gets on that defuse.
Oh, it's a heartbreak.
He wasn't quite there early enough. Final round of the half. Feels like EDG could have had that one in the bag. Simon with a big breach ult risks his life slightly.
Just trying to set Kang into the appropriate spot. I see. Spam down into the corner here. Smoggy though is going to be going down. Valen will not leave that one uncontested. Nobody. Steep tucked. Paranoia is going to be dodging. But at least with the draw, no way! Backstabs in play. Kang with all that positioning. 6-6. That is an explosive finish to the first half of Haven.
And one more situation where EDG find the gap. Bait them into a big fight in short, walk down mid. Kang is right there for the backstab. It looked like G2 had all of their pieces prettily set up throughout this half. And yeah, EDG have still responded.
Salvaged it, man, just from the scraps as well. Forged the path to 6-6, and still, you got to think it's anyone's game.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Six to six finish here. I mean, this is looking like G2 were in complete control, to be honest, at the beginning. It was only EDG grabbing that pistol round, but the Thrifty win on round 7, and a string of rounds that really followed as well, just from that lack of respect that
including
EDG was
another
showing.
Thrifty.
Yeah, that's what paled them out, you know. That's the thing that got them going up to that 6-6 half now, heading into the second half of Haven. And expectations, again, kind of a skew whiffed. EDG, what we do know about this team is that their execs are nasty good, very well drilled and tempered, and they're going to be putting that pressure and applying it straight to a lot of these G2 players.
Yeah, EDG actually found success there in a very different way to the way that they were winning in China. And I think that's a sign of a team that's doing well on the global stage, where you're able to take not just your strengths that were getting you across the line against the Chinese teams, but being able to adapt to what's put in front of you, realizing if we just fight these guys straight up, we're losing the macro game, and realizing that you need to take risks, find those moments to push on defense, to get yourselves tucked into one-and-dones and then bailing yourselves out with the breach util. All of those plays that were crafted, probably on the fly, worked out really, really nicely. I think the pressure is all on G2 here. All on them. And that might seem a little unusual if you're not familiar with Valorant, because, you know, G2 are not the top seed coming out from Americas, but they did very well in Shanghai.
Oh, yeah.
They felt like they choked the finals in Americas. They felt like they should have been lifting that trophy. And historically, the Chinese teams have just never really been able to crack the big time, save one, which was EDG at Tokyo. And they're barreling down A-Long, looking to put on a performance like that again.
And win over G2 would certainly set that kind of tempo and pace forward. It's going to be util used. Responded by G2 to try and push back this A-Long aggression.
A bit of a team flash there.
Yeah.
A rough one that might have just saved G2 a little from that opening exec. They still have Paranoia. That didn't even get baited out.
Nicely sitting with another flash in the back pocket.
5 seconds until the fault line comes back. And the recon.
So the timing's been weighted out, so EDG do have that util now to make another go with it. The smoke in short is causing problems. Kangang's just going to just walking straight through it. No util to clear. He's lucky again to be alive. There was no damage really. Lay it down onto him here. There's 45 seconds left. Again, the dart at their backs. Recon going to be broken, still lighting them up enough, and the crossfire setups are definitely enough. G2 can budge, didn't get rooted away from this spot. Trent delivers a 4-piece to set the stage here in the second half of Haven.
Fantastic Paranoia as well from Valen. Didn't get baited out with that first wave of utility because of the miscoordination between Simon and Kangkang. So then when it's available towards the end, blinds everyone that could have followed up, and Kangkang gets chopped down by that crossfire. Valen and Trent there, you know, really nicely able to catch the duelist. Everyone else also is basically swinging through this Viper's Orb. It's a different spot, more of a hard anchor spot rather than a flood defend for A. Also, we haven't seen G2 play with Viper in a long time, so hard to know if this is standard or a specific read into how EDG exec.
There's a lot of unknowns. We'll be learning alongside everybody at home.
Their flood defense strat looks like it's going to be over towards C, as a lot of people do. Most teams are going to be running that. Throw a smoke over, get the Viper wall up, and you can reinforce Leaf's position very quickly. Plant the spike.
Kang not willing to reveal the fact that he's holding on to the Marshall. Now an attempt over towards the C side. The util is always going to be good for it. I mentioned how good EDG's XX are, but they don't really have the weapons for it, so it will have to be util to try and save the day. Leaf peeks up and over, realizing he wasn't favored. Going to be backing away, and the pause is caught at just the right time. Refighting into the back of the site will not turn up with absolutely anything. It's cleaned up. Stack him up, knock him down by Jonah P himself.
Nobody saving in that round, though. They went for the full buy-up. A lot of respect being shown for EDG. But that also means no Vandals, no, Phantoms to carry forward. So this is light weaponry that G2 are coming into their bonus round with. It's good, though, to play scrappily inside smokes. So that's something that EDG are going to have to watch out for and dodge here. Hit them hard. And EDG would love to get off on the right foot. Losing this round might make Haven an impossibility.
I might just send them spiraling. Flash through into mid, couple of stray shots. Bit of posturing from Kang. Overall, though, nice and slow. Drone timing, I believe, missed there by Trent. He's not going to be able to see too much information, and a shot whiffed by Icy. Looking to get posted back up onto that one. Trent is going to be under so much pressure once more here with a drone into his face. He's going to try and take a timing past it. He's way ahead of it. Question is, does he come up with any results as well? The fuel timing, it's got to be calmed. Aftershock in through into the back as well as the dart. He doesn't reveal it. Bulldog spray is labored at that, but at least he claims the kill. What a trade down. Snakebite up and over the top as well, only applying a slight amount of vulnerability, and as they attempt to play and swing off of that, EDG are ready. They hold it down with the rifles.
Nice attempt by Trent in that round. Really needed his aim to be a bit cleaner to pick up two if there was any chance of making this one winnable. EDG showcasing that they're happy to do a two-wave exec to try to get through that Viper orb, sorry. But if they're going to sit there, drone, and then execute afterwards, I thought he teleported straight into the trip there.
There's a chance.
Yeah. If they're going to do that kind of play, it's going to give G2 a lot of time to set up flanks, to rotate over and reinforce the A site.
That's Valorant looking to do some damage. That's quite
good.
Nice, yeah. Two kills.
Good damage. Smoggy has to rebuy armor. Nobody can drop a teammate. You see the late reaction on Trent. They were so confident that that drone had cleared his position. Really caught them on guard there.
Yeah.
Icy is going to pick up the operator. Saw it in a couple rounds from Kang, but he didn't really find too much value with it playing on back plat. See if Icy can make the difference. When you're playing against a team that doesn't have that Viper wall, playing A-long, super good with an op.
Dodging the phone line, misses the shot though, and the gate crash is not good. Delayed as he's trying to activate it. Kang will punish. Steps up to that challenge with a stun as well. All up in the face of G2. Makes it feel like they could have been going with a bit more pace off the backside of it. Drone in the mid-round, use the clear. Nobody's going to use it. See if you can gain any more information. Jonah P, they know that the Snakebite was dropped down, at least from the one avenue.
Nice cage, threatening like there could be alert going on. Does Jonah P buy it? Doesn't really seem that he does.
They're going for a reclear. I mean, as many fights are about to be occurring here. Nobody wins it out through mid. Valiant going peekaboo. Rips the head off Smoggy. Backs away and plays his life. Trent as well, baited into a one-and-done position in case there is that re-exploration by EDG.
If you had a stat of players fault-lined, Simon would be,
He'd be
right
up there.
I mean, that one aimed for Valin, but catches onto Trent. Like you said, he's kind of stuck in short right now. Leaf's going to be asked to do a lot. He has to be worried about this B lurk, and he has to try to cover the C site as well. Viper's down, so Jonah P can't pop that wall up and try to help them flood defend in here.
Yeah.
And Leaf's getting squeezed.
He really is, right from the sides. And the damage done. I mean, listen, Kang was almost alone taking that fight, but he would have had backup at the end of the day anyway. C-plant and G2. Take the tail between their legs there. Going to be going all the way away. They want to save this operator.
You certainly don't want that one to fall into enemy hands.
Yeah.
Making that donation over to Kangkang would be probably a pretty large mistake. Who knows? Maybe they wouldn't even want to play with it on the attack side as a Neon, but Kangkang does love to attack up. I think this round was fairly chalked right from the beginning when Icy fails his shot. Kangkang immediately punishes over there by A-Long. If you're making the investment to put the operator into his hands, as they are again by going and saving it, he's got to be hitting. With Yoru, yes, you can get out, but normally that saves you from the trade, not if you miss the first shot.
Exactly.
Got to be good for him. Looks like it just skimmed past his knee. And this one's a particularly weird one because G2 are not going to be able to buy up around their weapons that they just saved. The economy on the others is too poor for it, really. I mean, they could scrap together bulldogs if they wanted to.
I mean, you don't really ever want to be doing that, put in a position to force up around the operator.
Yeah, and G2, they're going to take attack timeout, and I think half of it is going to be just discussing whether or not they want to commit here. If you take the commitment and you're in a disadvantage because of the economy, and then you lose, and then it's 9-8, and then you're on an eco, so it's 10-8.
And you're still holding on to the operator for some reason.
Yeah, it's a big,
dragged along.
Big risk.
Yeah.
If G2 go for this one, it could well define the map for them. You know, if they win, they're just in it. If they lose, they might be out of it. These last couple of rounds for EDG have been absolutely vital to re-establishing their position in this map. Could have easily snowballed away from them.
They maintain that composure up to 8-8 here. Second map of Haven, already up 1 here for EDG. So at this point, it's all about putting that slam dunk finish onto the series with another upset. Can't get enough of them here, Champs 2024.
G2 have made the decision not to invest. Trent's only bringing a classic into the round.
Taps onto the orbs. So I'm going to be happy for that one now. He's going to be 1 away towards the Rolling Thunder. Big tool to use. Assuming to get this one online as well. And you're going to be thinking, favored to at least get the plant or a couple of kills into this, with G2's weaponry being so low. The danger has to come from Icy or Valorant.
They haven't particularly tested this C defense. I mean, they've been over there once or twice, but we haven't seen what the G2 Flood defend on C looks like. They're actually running into a similar defensive problem as EDG were, where they're keeping 3 players A deep into the rounds. I mean, look at them right now. They don't have too much info, deep down long, that kind of thing. So you've just got no ability to pivot your players over and defend against this exec. This is just absolute free real estate for EDG.
Kangkang's the one who steps forwards. Taking a challenge into the smoke. Flashes won't connect. And again, playing a retake without any rifles, really, other than just Valen and the op. It's an impossibility for G2. That's the position they're going to be forced into. Choosing whether or not to even make a go of this. Up and around as well. Baiting with the bodies. Seeing if they can set up any sort of kills, but everybody falls. Flawless here for EDG. Op doesn't survive.
And Kangkang getting a glimpse of that trophy that he's hunting for. So G2 forced to go into the next without the op. Maybe it's going to be a good idea for them, because it hasn't found them too much value in the couple rounds that they've been running it. But this one wasn't really a fair one to judge. He had no chance of defending. Kangkang is so hyped up. He can feel the fact that if they win one more big rifle round right here, they've got G2 on the ropes.
And a mass amount of pings over towards the C site. Valen is going to be tested potentially here from the exec. He sprays down a couple of bullets. No kill in sight, just contact plays, but a dart going to be short of the mark there, shy of it. All up once more, EDG.
They've seen Valen over towards C. Now, he was previously playing A a lot, so that might make them think, okay, let's not go into C. It looks like it's reinforced fairly heavily. Perhaps we can take another avenue here, a different approach. And the breach ult, as that tool in their back pocket, may end up being a fantastic asset.
Drum from nobody. Nothing else past this point. Looking to fake this presence. They're all in front of it, cuts it up as well, but already deep down C, G2 have taken that space, and they're going to know and be fully aware that there's really nothing else behind this one, and so the call is made. They realize it, a slow crawl all the way over towards the A site. EDG think that they've sold them an absolute blinder.
What a timing for Icy and Jonah P to be re-clearing C. They are still going to be forced to retake, however. Can Trent ult to deny this plan?
30 seconds left.
Nobody sticking it. It's a little bit delayed and late here. The Hunter's Fury, yeah, it's not going to be connecting. Kangkang's going walkabouts. Played in right off the back of it. Their own ult as well, potentially obfuscating most of it. Flank, it's going to have to be held. Icy, no way past it. Has to break the trip now. It's alerted him to his presence. Locked down by Smoggy. This 1v1 being taken, but the rest of G2 is being just, again, plucked out of the prettiest picture. Still going to be trying to win out these fights, held over the shoulder. Down to that 2 versus 2. Kang ult in hand. Lets it rip, but again, his head's on a swivel. Trent delivers a miracle. Get the hell out of here.
He's pulled it out of nowhere. I mean, I had no concept that those players were even lined up. I assumed they were lined up. Has he just hit a crazy spray transfer?
Gotta see it in a replay. There's no world in which G2 should be winning that.
And they needed that. A round loss there absolutely decimated their economy. They needed this more than any round they've had on Haven. Wasn't a full lineup. That took some serious skill to pull off. Fast reactions.
That strat is actually insane, Jacob.
Light-hearted by the sound of things on G2, but they just got away with murder.
Yeah, they're taking the entire map in their stride, despite the fact that not quite elimination, but it's a game that will knock them off their feet. Here's a Hunter's Fury to supplement this play as well. Lighten up Trent. Kang to capitalize.
It's another round where G2, if they lose, their economy's broken. They are not out of the woods yet.
Neural to try and potentially play this one into the retake. The Neural theft spots out most of the players. They know that the flank isn't really a threat right now. G2 playing this one in almost entirely together. A lot of util to be used here. Ural already popped off. Blind with the paranoia, up into the corner, spraying away. They know the rough positions of these players as well. They have to collect it all together. Jonah P up onto the high ground. Not enough to collect it. Drop down and spray down. Simon delivers them around, and the players are delivered right to his bloody lap.
A perfect response for what Trent just did in the previous round. Hitting a similar level of spray down. G2, no answers, no economy. I love the increase of pace as well. You look at the way that G2 are defending on the A site. They've got that Viper Orb that needs to come up. They need Valen's Paranoia in that spot. EDG just caught them with only a single player looking to defend, reading that Trent was the only one home. EDG should be favored to get up to 11 here, and that is within touching distance of securing this match and going to playoffs. The only #1 seed that would have managed that so far.
One that was least expected.
From inarguably the weakest region, and I don't mean that as a knock on China, just historically, trophies gained, depth in tournaments, China hasn't been there yet. But that yet is doing a ton of heavy lifting here at Champs.
It's the key word. The tide might be changing. EDG are grouped up here, contacting most of the way forwards. I know there's not too much of a risk, but G2 are taking a gamble of their own on the eco. To stack of players could present some danger, especially with EDG just making sure to walk all the way, most of the way through this one, spotting the contact here. And now, Dart not going to be dealt with, lighten them up. Cutting it up into the crossfire setup with the smokes finally blooming and blossoming, and Icy trying to flash himself in, making a play, but this is EDG up to 11.
G2 are going to have to make an adjustment to reinforce this A site. It's been such a glaring weakness in their defense now.
Did every pellet miss?
Who knows how that one's happened. Leaf is 1 away from getting a lockdown. Trent is a couple away from a Hunter's Fury. These kind of ults can really reinforce an A site. They work for plant denial, they work for a retake potential as well. But they're going to get them online by dying, really. That's not a great way for the end of your map to look.
No.
EDG, like I said, touching distance now.
And as we mentioned right at the beginning of this series as well, EDG, they were the top dogs in China for quite some time regionally, but they've been overshadowed a lot pushed to the brink by their own region. And not just that as well, they've been watching some of the other teams at this very event, even just earlier today, overshadow them. But EDG not willing to go down quietly. They want to show the strength of their region, the strength of their team, the improvements that have been made. I'm dead impressed. The pace and tempo. It's turned up, increased off the back of it. Ult, not committed, in fact, just broken. Kang trying to play himself in. It's doubled up. Movement slightly ajar, enough to just offset all of it. And pre-fires into the corner. Hunter's Fury again to supplement and push back EDG away from this C site.
G2 are using huge amounts of ultimates here, but it is getting them the value. 5v3 and G2 are looking to re-clear over towards Garage.
Spike picked up. G2's got it now.
Does he realize he's back? He's got enemies there.
Silent drop down, Leaf. He nails it. Chichu drops, so does the spike. Nobody going for another reclamation. No, my goodness. Smoggy can only do so much into this spot. He's got the time to work with, but unfortunately, insurmountable odds. And it's all set against them here. G2 will not go down themselves.
And that was a good setup. They had Viper's Pit over towards A, reinforcing that site that has been a weakness for them. They deal with Kang by doubling up, break that Omen ultimate. They've even got the Solver ult that comes through, denying a Garage split. Everything there worked the way that G2 would have thought it up. But now they don't have the Hunter's Fury. Now they don't have the Pit to reinforce the A site. So now it becomes incredibly important that we see a change around in the defensive setup for G2. The A site has been a massive weakness. EDG are going to try to exploit that. Or fake that they're going to try to exploit that. 3 players cemented in place for G2 on A, and Icy incentivized to go for the push down C.
And this is ballsy. Yes, he has the gate crash, but he's taking this fight almost alone. Nobody. He's droned up and right ahead of it. Nobody. Burst it down, beam down. Where's the follow-up and through? It's up through Garage, and Kang will be dropped. Leaf making sure to shore up those defenses with the reinforcements now scattering and arriving. There are some potential holes here into the setup, and Chichu has found one of them.
Very safe positioning there from Icy and Leaf. They don't want to get caught out. They're happy to give the C site over. They've got lockdown for the retake, as long as Leaf doesn't die right now.
Why not play like that? It's a 3v5. Don't give away any unnecessary advantages. Fault line. Push into the spawn. Smoggy wants to go with things, but it did not connect. Not onto Icy, not this time. Simon with the plant. Stuck in place. Chichu's still there. Pushing forwards. Aftershock as well. It's all highlighted and orchestrated like they want to try and fight this once again, and G2 are fully aware. Anti-flash. A dart into the back. A playmaking ability by Icy. Sacrificing his own body for her, but he's still the one to come up with the kill. Simon has got to do so much more. Kills are offered up towards him, but not enough in the end. G2 collect it all together, playing together with that discipline that's highlighted this team as a major strength all throughout, and they've managed to equalize it up to 11.
That A fake was such a beautiful call from EDG. And Icy's push down C long should have been punished if nobody had a single other player with him. Icy goes down in this spot, you gotta think it. And yet both of their players that were in more solo positions, Nobody and Kang both fell.
One enemy remaining.
Do the thing, 11-11. Don't know what the thing is, but I've got to imagine here, EDG are taking attack timeout.
Okay.
They were all set up. We could see on the minimap, all set up to go for an A hit. I would imagine it wasn't going to be another fake. Just reading into the psychology of the way that players normally play the game, if you run a fake play and it doesn't work, and the only thing that's been working for you recently is the big site execs on A, I would expect EDG to just go for it. Maybe the coach has hit the button here because he didn't like what the call was, when things are getting to crunch time.
Possibly getting ahead of ourselves. I mean, I can see the economy. Of course, there's options for EDG to adjust, but Kang does have that operator into his hands on the attack side. So if you're going to be going into an A hit as well, it's not really the best tool for the job.
At the same time, it's something that EDG do very often.
Yeah.
They will often run fast plays where Kang is opping. He's just super comfortable in those kind of spots. Is it the best way of playing the game? No, not really. But does he still find value with it? Yeah. More often than he should, I would say. and they've still got this huge breach ult to use. I think they're expecting G2 to be playing in retake positions. You look at the ult status. Attacking team has breach ult, defending team has killjoy ult. You're expecting defenders to be playing retake quite a lot of the time, which means that EDG might want to try to take the site for free and not use that breach ult. You might get some weird situations here where Simon's trying to be a bit greedy, hold it for post-plant, and gets punished.
11-11. Nice and cautious here by EDG. They're hoping and praying that somebody will just peek onto this A-long angle for the information. Full prey to Kang with the up. It's being jiggled, I believe, onto the other side of things. Chichu also going exploration. Oh. Garage does manage to fire a few bullets necessary, takes out the alarm bot.
And now nobody actually has somebody with him, right? He's not going to get timinged.
All from Icy. This is going to be used roughly around the minute mark. He needs that mid-round information for the rest of his team. Spotting two of these players in through mid. Pretty big tell. Exiting out, gate crashes potentially to the other side of the map as well. So a slow and steady play by EDG. The longer this goes, oh, Kang misses it with a shoulder peek. And the awareness is now there for G2. They do not want to offer any more chances. Shock dart rebounds. Patience played, but A-long has been given up with only 35 seconds. This looks like it's moving, the jump spot. Strength tempt him twice. Rolling Thunder now committed. Paranoia alongside it. Valin is tucked safe. Nicely inside the orb. Stunned up. Matters not. This guy's still alive and kicking here with a flash of his own as well to play into the back pocket. The rest of his team are already played all the way in. Simon weaving in and out. Nowhere to play. With the spike into his hands, he just has to let the time run way out. And G2, they've stolen this round away. When all the momentum felt like it was in the hands of EDG. This is the 12th round now for G2.
What a beautiful adjustment from Jonah P of where he put that Viper orb. We've been seeing it towards that A-long entrance almost all of the map. And now he's making that shift to put it in a more standard spot. This is where most teams would be running that Viper orb, at least in the previous meta when Viper was played on this map. Valin hunkered down inside of it. Hits a great headshot.
Let's go. Match point. We're 12-11 right here. This is where we end it, boys. This is where we end it.
And that's confident from G2. They were just on the ropes. 11-9 down. Now with a chance to bring us to bind. You gotta close teams out like G2.
Kang's going to take matters into his own hands here. All the util to set it up. Another fast play from EDG. Again, an open site for the taking. Fault line in through the link as well, but G2 and none playing towards it. Wisened up to the tricks of the trade. Lockdown's going to be used as well to clear this one out nice and freely. No more util has to be used here by G2. Drone in through the back. Trent's going to be threatening, like it could be making a play for this one.
Alarm bot for the garage reflank. They're going to know about this.
Nobody's already passed it though. Alarm bot triggers. Jonah P defusing half onto the board. This is for the map. Someone needs to stop this. Someone needs to stop this. But no one is there. G2 right from beneath them. They steal the map away. And bind is fainted to happen.
I think steal is the perfect word to use there. EDG looked like they were in control, up 11-9. You have to close out against teams like G2. You cannot afford to let the series go deeper. EDG have just lost control.